Hello, hello, and welcome to this edition of the Law Firm Blueprint. I'm one of your hosts, Jay Ruane, and with me, as always, is Seth Price. Seth, it's been another week. How you doing this week?
I am doing great. And Jay, I went to Clio a couple
You're doing
weeks
great.
back.
I like thinking
I'm
you're
doing
doing
great.
great.
I'm doing great. But I got something. I got something for you. You have always professed hiring people
Okay.
right out of school, and I've been the guy that says no, third to eighth year, right? And I know you coming along to my world.
Yep.
The problem is, and we've talked about this, there is an elephant in the room. We cannot get the same high quality people third to eighth year that we were getting a decade ago. It's not there. And this is not to say, oh, it's not the way it used to be. There are definitive economic things. COVID wiped out a group of people that would have gone to law school but didn't want to pay $200,000 to study on Zoom, right? We've
Yep.
had other options in the tech world that I think have pulled people away, and entrepreneurial options online that have pulled people away from law school. And we have also seen with loan forgiveness programs that people that start in the government starting in year three become stickier, and that by 10 years they're locked in and they may not leave, and that we are losing people. I interviewed a guy I love the other day, ninth year. Oh, I still want to come. I'm like, I don't even want to. Why should I spend any words? I'm playing for a year from now at best. You're telling me you're going to give up
Right.
9/10 of $200,000 of tax-free loan forgiveness. Like, if you're coming here, you're not a rational player and you should piss off. That's the
Right.
level we're at, right? And so whether they tell me or I tell them or whatever, so what do you do? Because I'm not getting, like, right now, if I could hire two or three criminal lawyers in Virginia, if you're listening, $5,000 bounty. Anybody listening to this show that gets me a viable criminal lawyer in Virginia with skills third to eighth year or more that will actually be able to produce for it. Like, that's the level that I'm at. Like, I have 20 different recruiters working on it. It's that type of a scenario. That said,
Yeah.
what is next? And I'm at Clio, and there are a number of scaled family lawyers, anywhere ranging from 12 to 60 lawyers in their firms. And what are they doing? They're creating summer programs. They're going back to big law model where they're bringing in as many crazy ones, as many as 50 people a summer, some are 20, some are
Wow.
12, and they are bringing people through. And they're not always like these are not hobnobbing like I went through with lunches and dinners. This may be a 6-week internship of sorts where people are being trained, and it gives them a bunch of stuff, right? It's, to me, one of the biggest factors. Does somebody actually want to do this type of law? Do they have work ethic? Do they show up? And all of those things, and turning it into a numbers game. Can you bring enough people into the funnel where, at a cost effective rate, these are people in, southern states where minimum wage may be $7, where they're literally 6 weeks at $7 an hour. You go through a program. It's also weeding out the people that really want it. You're getting trained. They see if you want it. Then they get 50 cents on the dollar of the people that started it that might start day one. How many make it through the first month or the first quarter? I don't know. But the idea is it's a numbers game to put butts in seats. First, what do you think about this? And am I crazy to be thinking this way, or is this going to be a necessity because we're not getting people trained the way we want them ready to go?
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple of factors. I saw a headline recently. I don't know how accurate it was, but it seems pretty accurate that last year about 18,000 students registered for the LSAT, and this year it was like 36,000. So I think there was a dip, but I think there's a lot of people in college now thinking, oh, maybe the law isn't a bad profession if it's, if I can avoid getting displaced by AI, but they're a couple of years off.
Well, well,
I
they're a
look.
couple years off, but there's also like that's not. It's people hiding out during an economic downturn of sorts. I mean, I'm in DC. People are being riffed, meaning fired daily. They're not getting paid right now. Like, government work is not what it was cracked up to be before, where you could get fired at any moment. That was used to be job for life. So
Yeah,
that
I
law
mean,
school
I
is not a
like
bad
the
place to
idea
hire.
of having a class and you know, a pipeline of people. If nothing else, if you're doing it, even if you don't find somebody who can fill your seat, think of that as having 20 other lawyers that know you, know your operation, and may want to refer your business if they go into insurance defense law or PI or criminal or whatever. So,
You're
I mean,
definitely expanding network, but it's a lot. You wouldn't put this much effort out for that. I mean, that's why we do one. No, but you know what? It's funny. We've had, it's a lot of work, but you're right. Everybody that we've had within the people, how people love law students, but they hate lawyers. Anybody who's clerked for us is stayed on as a raving fan. People may leave as an associate and go somewhere else and have mixed feelings about a firm, but for the most part, the people during law school who are there, it's a stepping stone. It's their first professional experience. There's a lot of positive mojo that comes from it, so I love it. um, to me, I'm sitting here in this, if I
here's
don't
the
do something.
problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem that I found with hiring people right out of law school. Your mileage may vary, our listeners' mileage may vary, but here's what we have. We have people, generally speaking, who did 4 years in high school, then everything changed. They did 4 years in college, then everything changed, and they did 3 or 4 years in law school. So they are programmed to expect a massive change at around the 3 to 4 year mark. It change in their living conditions, in where they go and hang out. It's not something that's necessarily, you know, they're making a conscious decision. But what I have found is that at the 3.5 year mark, you get people who are great employees, who are trained, who like their job, coming to you saying, I think I got to look elsewhere because it's time for a change. And because their mind and their body is used to things changing every couple of years. And they also say, I don't want to necessarily be at one firm for my entire career. And I can see myself just not ever changing. So I need to change and bounce. And like you've told me in the past, you've got some people in that role who were not necessarily very qualified for their salary when they started, but after 2 or 3 years from you, now they're exceptional because they're doing it right. They know how to handle things. You train them well. And so now they can get pulled up by somebody else that says, I don't have to do any of the hard work of training them.
Right.
I
So
can just train them.
I have an ego enough to think that the financial model, particularly what I've talked about on the show, the 25, 25, 50, trues that up. The issue is when we talk about law clerk is 25 bucks an hour, graduate 60, pass the bar 65, 70K, and all of a sudden they're worth 110. If your financial model makes it so that they can't be pilfered for money, that goes a long way. But if you're keeping them at that 70, and they're at the end of the year, it's like, oh, well, they'll make 85 at the end of the year. There's more risk. So the question is, can you true them up? And you know what I'm seeing? I am seeing like part of us has to just grow up. We used to think that 60 was a viable number for an entry
Oh
level
man,
person.
52 was a viable number for the longest time. $1,000 a
Right.
week. I can
With,
get you started.
right. And I think that the dirty secret is, and the analogy I have, we talked about this on the show. I wanted to start an international staffing group that did like pre-lit paralegals or other highly trained paralegals, intake, what have you, that could come out trained. And the problem was there was a cost to doing it. You had to pay somebody something, even if it was a training wage. You had to get them there, then you had to place them, and somebody had to pay you for that. And the question
Mhm.
is, would they? Because if it's, how long would they pay you? There's a risk the person would leave, the person, in theory, are under a contract. And so I think it's similarly that we need to start thinking about, and I think I am, and I think you have too, we've grown up over the years, that a first year is not 60 or 70,000, but past the bar with basic training from you, it's 100. And it's a loss leader for you for X period of time, and that it'll get there, and like that that the delta that we were leaving was in of itself problematic, and that
I
even
get
though
I
they're
get
not
that.
worth 80 or 90 in those opening months, if we don't pay that, then don't bother. Like, we need to somehow make up that gap and pay the people that matter so that they stay. And the ideal is it's on a percentage. so that you're because we aren't smart enough to remember. You get somebody at 65, 70, they're smiling at you every day. You know, if their revenue is 360, that means they're at 80. And it automatically trues it up as they're making more money.
Let me ask you a question though, because I've always thought about this, and I think it's time to talk about it. You have an attorney, they get the 50, 20, 25, 25. That's their split. And they close 3 out of every 10 clients that come in. So they're happy making their money. But you're spending a lot of money on 7 out of those 10 leads that never convert. And if you had somebody who was better at sales, trained at sales, even if you put the lawyer through some sort of sales training, God knows if they're going to actually apply it and that type of thing. But how are you ascribing to them a cost of getting the leads in? Because if I could only convert 1 of 10, and I'm happy, you're not going to be happy spending all that money on 9 out of 10 leads that don't convert.
Literally my life right now. Like we're becoming one person. Like everything you just asked, you have to remember, is literally what we're going through. So what have we done? We've added in an attorney salesperson up front. I'm not smart enough to figure out the non-attorney. Someday you'll tutor me. We'll figure that out. And we're leaving it. We're not even taking that off their plate. We realize, as you pointed out, that for our weakest salespeople, it's better for us to pay for the salesperson, not even charge them for it and deliver it signed, right? A. B, for those people that were trying to sign it, we had to come to a come to meeting where we were like, guys, like everything we track now, our numbers, our data is so much better than it used to be. We are able to say, what is the time? How long does it take for an attorney to speak to somebody? So if we can sign it ourselves, great. Without them, God bless, and we have a great signing attorney. But the stuff that does go to them, some of the more complex stuff or whatever it is that gets to the lawyers, how long before they get to it? And we had 2 lawyers that were shitting all over it. To your point, we're paying for marketing, stuff's coming in, and they're signing, and they both were making us decent money. And Dave had a conversation to the team and said, look, guys, this you gotta return calls. That was more than that. It was one of the attorneys was ghosting the staff for 3 days at a time. Weird stuff, right? Stuff we've all seen. And he's like, look, you got to return the calls. Bottom line, you return the calls. That 3 out of 10 is directly proportionate to the response time of speaking to people. But even if they're terrible at it, they'll sign more. Then if they're really terrible, then we move to somebody else. But first, let's just get response time up. Don't
Right.
ignore phone calls because they're gold. You know what happened?
What
That's
happened?
what part of the reason I'm talking summer program. 2 of the people, thank you very much. And it was like, you know what? Like they didn't hit our core values. It sucks. I'm now talking about how do I staff, but to your very, very point, if somebody, and this is true whether it's response time for signed clients or whether it's response time for potential clients, if it's not there. So everything you just said is exactly what we are currently struggling with, which is I'm putting a band-aid on it by having people that love signing people and taking it away from people. But whatever I do leave with those attorneys is a risk factor. And so we've seen who are the people that we love that may not be great signing on the phone and using the signing attorney. And for the people that, for some of these people, we're like, no, this is our bar. And you know what? It sucks because we'll have slightly dipped revenue in those jurisdictions for a little bit. And again, if you were a solo, you probably can't do that because if you have 1 or 2 people and you lose the one or two
Right.
people, but you got 50 people. If I'm down 2 people, I'll make up. We just signed another. We signed one that'll come in. And is it ideal? No. But there are people that start okay and drop on response time. But if you measure one thing on PI, it's percentage of wants. But what I've started moving towards is percentage of answered calls and then percentage of first call close. Those that order of magnitude on PI in criminal. What is the time between the first speaking to the person that has a need to the seller speaking to them? If it's minutes, that's great. If it's an hour, that may work because criminal is not you're not going to get stolen from in an hour. Maybe you will, but most likely not. But if you wait 36 hours,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
you're done.
happening.
Well,
You're
I'll tell you
done.
right now. I mean, I'm stealing every client from all the lawyers in the state of Connecticut who wait. Like I'm snapping up that business, and I'll take it because we staffed intake 7 days a week, and it's made a huge difference. We
We're
on
about to
Saturday you
go.
call in.
We've been 7 to 11. We're about to push beyond that.
Yeah,
I mean, with
yeah.
each piece, and we're trying to total pivot. I want to finish this because that question is everything we're thinking about. Look, well, next episode, let's talk about AI answering. Where we're at with that, what you've tested, what you like. But to sort of land the plane on this topic, it is everything. It is response time is everything. And when if you're having lawyers close stuff, which I have for the last 19 years, what we're finding is some lawyers just aren't. You know what it is? It
Well,
goes
I mean,
back
think about
to
it. If my plate is full this week, if I am exhausted from the clients that I have, and it's now Thursday, and I just slogged through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and half of my day, and now you're putting a lead on my desk, and I am comfortable with what I make, is there an incentive for me to close more work and put it on my desk when I'm burned out?
great
No.
lawyers, the great lawyers that we have, that's not a factor for them. They have
Okay.
it in their DNA. But that said, it goes back to the law school thing. I'm not getting those people out now.
Right.
Again, all the factors I've talked about, the same DNA is not coming out of law school, at least to me. And maybe it's because the same person there that with the shrinkage of laws, they're now at big law and have a whole different game that they're playing. Maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah.
what I am seeing is I am now having to account for people that are fine in the courtroom, but can't close. Or maybe it's some of the Jay Ruane theory that don't have that same drive. They certainly don't have the same drive. And so that I'm pushing myself to not band-aid it, but account for it. Right. I could keep hitting my head against the wall, but I'm like, hey, I'm getting people out. I'm losing the people that I want with experience because they're not leaving the government that normally would pivot. Right. And so here I am trying to have to do a workaround, which is I'm going to get people that are perfectly fine lawyers, but they're not going to literally, a person that we are recently just parting ways with, a perfectly fine practitioner, no complaints. We said, hey, your response time is very low. And in our world where it's rural, they spend a lot of time in their car. Why are you not calling people back? Well, I'm driving. I can't speak to somebody while I'm driving. And I'm like that's
That's the
like
perfect time to
a
talk to
lawyer.
people.
I got one guy who's been with us for over a decade. He is a maniac. He does not waste a minute of call time in the car. And that's where he makes his money. Driving between courthouses, driving home, every minute of car time is where he gets, closes. And like you can't teach that. You can't teach hungry.
Right.
And so if I don't have that, if somebody isn't that, you know, the right answer is, you know what? I don't want to reward that, but here's your signed stuff. Go to court, make us both money.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Anyway, so
All right,
look,
folks, that's going to do it
next
this week
next
here.
next episode to preview, I want to talk AI voice.
Okay, let's do it. All right, folks, that's going to do it this week here on the Law Firm Blueprint. Of course, you can take us on the go anywhere you want to go by subscribing to our podcast. And for people who are in our Facebook group, it's been systems that I've posted for years. As of today, I am going into our Facebook group and I'm going to post an AI prompt to create with AI a practice area book that you can have created, like a 250 to 200 page book, all written by AI that you can have and you can give to clients no matter whether your practice area is bankruptcy, criminal, PI, family law, trusted estates, whatever, business law, whatever it is. Pop into the Facebook group. Make sure that you leave me a comment on the AI prompt. I'm going to put the prompt up in one of the comments, so you're going to have to get there so you can copy it. But this way we can get more engagement going in our Facebook group. I'd love to see you there. I'm Jay Ruane. He is Seth Price. Thanks for coming to the Law Firm Blueprint. Bye for now.